Welcome back. So, as you're probably aware of by now, Lori had her Daybell Vallows had her first court appearance in Idaho today, and oh boy, was it a media circus of a court date. So, what did we learn from today's court date? Well, first off, her defense. Lori has hired three attorneys, and I don't know how much money she had to put up for three attorneys from two different law firms, but she had to put up some kind of retainer for each and every one of them. And I'm guessing she got the money from most likely from Chad. I don't know where she'd get her own money. She isn't getting that much in Social Security death benefits per month for JJ and for Tylee. So it probably came from Chad. So she now has three attorneys. Her one attorney is the one who spoke today on her behalf during the bail proceedings and leading up to it. So bail was reduced from $5 million to $1 million. For a $1 million bond, she must put up 50% of that. I mean, 10% of that 1 million. So she'll need to put up $100,000, dollars in cash, and then something of security of $1 million in plus value. Now, there is talk on the internet that there may be someone who is a believer or a member of the LDS Church offshoot group that they belong to. And I say that because I have no proof that they are actually part of the LDS Church. I know that Lori and Chad and quite a few of these people started with the LDS Church, and the LDS Church has not officially said that they're not part of them. The LDS Church has not, said that they are an offshoot either. So what I understand about it, I believe that they are an offshoot of the LDS Church, and I have to go with that until, I have actual documentation or verification one way or another that there may be a person from the Chandler, Arizona area who might put up the bond for her. Now, Chad would probably have to put up the $100,000, but they would put up the collateral. Would it be something from the church? Don't know. Would it be something from that an individual, a wealthy benefactor that they have, who's a follower, has? I don't know. But in any case, they believe the world is coming to an end on July 20th, 2020. So, in 3 months, they believe the world is coming to an end. So they very well can, if they have a rich benefactor out there, they might be able to convince that person, well, it's only 3 months from now and the world's going to end. So why don't you just put it up, because you can't take it with you. Other restrictions for bail for Lori. She must be fitted for an ankle monitored GPS unit that will monitor her movements 24 hours a day. No restrictions were put on her at all for who she can and cannot speak with or what activities she can or cannot do. She can go ahead and drink alcohol all she wants. Now, I know that that is against the church, but then again, they're I know the LDS Church. A lot of them don't drink soda or caffeine, but that you can see very few. A lot of times, while they're in Hawaii, in Honolulu, and in Kauai, that her and Chad went to a coffee shop and ordered coffee, and they not tea, but they ordered coffee, and they you can also see pictures that are online of Lori with a Pepsi in her hand. So maybe if she is a follower of the LDS Church, she's not a very practicing member, or somebody who follows the teachings completely. But she must be fitted with a GPS monitor. Other restrictions upon her is that she is restricted to a 5 county area around Barron, where in the city of Rexburg, in the county areas where she currently resides. So That's a pretty big area, the 5 counties that she can move around in. The other things that she must do is, yes, Lori must surrender her passport. I knew she had a passport. I just didn't know if it was valid or what name it was under. Her passport is under the name of Lori Ryan, Ryan. And the passport apparently is expired according to her defense. Now, remember, in Hawaii, in both the case, court dates there, they said that the attorney played loose with the actual statements that he said. He said Lori Vallows does not have a passport. Lori Vallows does not have a passport. He's actually not lying. Lori Vallows doesn't have a passport. She has a passport underneath the last name of Ryan. But even if it's surrendered or if it's valid, she must surrender it. And these are the restrictions, again, that she must abide by to be out on bail. All right, so the media circus was in full swing there. And I don't know if you noticed during the court case, sitting to all the way to the back on, well, the front, kind of to the back, on behind Lori, about 2 rows back. We had some fellow YouTubers there. I'm not going to give them a shout out because but you can probably check them out. They probably have been all over this case uploading because it looked like they were actually texting updates live from the actual court hearing. But they were there, and I saw them. So I want to say hi to Jake really quick. I won't tell you guys who the other ones are, but Jake doesn't have he's not the channel person. He's just friends with them. But I saw you there. And so the Chad was supposed to, at least from what Channel 4 Northeast Idaho News was told, was that Chad was going to make a statement after the court case, while the media was waiting at one door for the Woodcocks to come out and for Chad to come out and make a statement. They found out that the Woodcocks were at another door, so all the media and all the other onlookers rushed over to another door to get a spot to be there to set up and for the press announcements, interviews that were going to happen afterwards. And while they went over to the other door, Chad snuck out the other door, refused to make a statement, got in his car, and left. So the statements of him wanting to tell everyone where the kids are that was on that Doomsday Prepper website don't look like they're true, do they? He has had ample opportunities since he's been there to make a statement to the media. He has avoided the media and said no comment. I will have no comment since he got there yesterday. He didn't make a statement today at the court, and he left. So that is what is new with the case as of today. The FBI has released a couple of statements. They are looking for photos of anyone who was in the Yellowstone National Park area through the Wyoming entrance. All right, not Idaho, not Montana, but the Yellowstone entrance through Wyoming. If anybody was there, I believe on September 23rd, but I could be wrong about that date. I'll put it up here after I get down here on what date exactly it is. But they want to know if you took any photos. Maybe you saw her brother's truck in the background, or you saw maybe Lori and Tylee, or maybe you saw JJ and in the background of maybe a photo you took or a video. But they would love to hear from you if you have that. And one of the other little tidbits in there, it was I didn't catch it right away myself, but it is in there. But they on the bolo that they put out in the search for this evidence, anybody who wanted to may have photos or videos or anything at all, was the last name of Lori Ryan. I didn't catch that until today. I was like, wow. So they knew, the FBI knew that she had a passport underneath the last name of Ryan because it said travel restriction, Lori Ryan. I didn't catch that until today. But that is what's, in a nutshell, where we are right now today. If she makes bail and gets out, the chances are slim that she's going to tell anybody where the kids are. I don't think there's anything left to force her hand before her end of world prophecy, because the the next hearing is in 2 weeks. Then we're in the middle of March. If then they decide to carry this out to trial, and trial date won't be in probably until June. Then if they get in June, and then they can ask for an extension to on the trial, and they could probably move it out past the 20th of July, in which Lori and Chad are going to carry out their end of the world prophecy. With how many followers? I don't know. I'm sure that they'll have to put on their magic underwear and they will carry out whatever they believe the end of the world prophecy is in their minds. And is it a prophecy where they have to die, where they take their own lives? Kind of like, a Heaven's Gate cult, where they have to release themselves from this body in order to lead their followers in the Enlightenment. I don't know, but I wouldn't put it past them. And if she's out on bail anywhere near that date, I do believe that something like that is most likely going to happen, because that is the end game for Lori and Chad, to get from here to July 20th, and on July 20th it all ends. Maybe again they can convince somebody to put up something of value to for as security. I mean, you can't take it with you in the afterlife. If the world ends on July 20th, you can't take it. It's not worth anything on July 21st to you. So why not take out that security on that home? And a lot of people have asked me, can you just tell us, what do you think really happened to the children? A lot of people think that she killed her kids, that Tylee's buried somewhere in Yellowstone, and JJ, may have been taken care of by Lori's brother, who then Lori took care of her brother by, giving him something that killed him, and then left his body to rot there, because it was several weeks after he was dead, and whatever she gave him would have dissipated from his body by the time they found him. What do you believe really happened to the children? And I'm going to tell you, honestly, now, I base my opinion on what happened to the children, what I think happened to the children. I base this on not only the court information, the research that I've done about Lori and Chad, and talking to people and reading, and not letting people know who I am. There's a lot of different groups out there who are not only friends with Lori and Chad in this circle, but there are other people who kind of follow along, I guess you could say. They they're of like-mindedness of Lori and Chad to a point. Maybe they're doomsday preppers, and they kind of follow along and they understand that they're afraid of the government and what the end of the world looks like. Maybe they're in that mindset. Maybe they're in the mindset that this has all been dreamed up by the government as a way to suppress freedom of religion. There are a lot of, again, you have to understand there are a lot of different groups out there of people who think alike and who are not necessarily out there and with a website and a nice white building with a shiny globe on the top. And I've been listening and reading what these people are talking about on the internet, and I use that to help me focus in on also to come to a determination in my own mind of what I think happened with Tylee and JJ. First, Tylee. I think Lori married Tylee off to a polygamist. I think it was easier than you can believe to find a polygamist who wanted to marry a 17-year-old girl. Call it wife number 6 or 5 in his list of women in his harem, and that's what I think that she did. She married her off to a polygamist, somebody she knew from the church, because as much as the church says that polygamy is not something that we are into anymore, we don't condone polygamy. They still have a very large following of polygamists who are in the church, and they see them and they just ignore them. They're right there in front of them every day, and they know it. And they have LDS churches in Mexico where these large groups of them are that belong in, and believe in the polygamy part of it. So, and I'm not making fun of the LDS church. I'm just saying that that's what I think she did, was marry Tylee off. And if you're a polygamist, you're not going to come out and say, you know what, I took her on as my wife number 4 or 5, and here she is, and she's still a minor. They're not going to come out and say that, and they're not going to just turn themselves in for that. And so that's what I think she did with Tylee, unfortunately. JJ, I think she handed off to somebody who lives off the grid. Maybe another offshoot member, somebody she met through the Doomsday Prophecy, someone who follows her beliefs and who was waiting for the world to end in July and was going to take that final step with her and along with their family. And they live off the grid, or maybe they live on a farm someplace where you pull up off of the main road and there's a gate there, and it's 2 miles into the home. Then whoever lives there comes and goes, and they close the gate behind them, so you can't just drive up onto the property. And they're not going to let JJ just walk around outside where people can see him in town. They're not going to put him in school. They're not going to take him to the supermarket. If anybody ever saw him, he'd be in the back seat of an SUV, or on the front seat of a pickup truck. And you can bet that they've probably changed his appearance or something to the effect, in case somebody does see him, they're not going to be able to recognize him right away. And I truly believe that he is living with somebody that is off the grid, and nobody's going to see him. Limited exposure within their own community. There are people who live within your own community who maybe only come into town 2-3 times a year. I mean, I know people who are Mennonites who you never see. You don't even know they exist. They may have fallen off the face of the earth, but they live 2 houses away. I never see them coming and going. I never see them in their yard. I never see them at all. But every once in a great while, I'll see them at the gas station. down the road. Otherwise, I never see them. And they're 2 houses away. How many women are in that house that are all dressed the same way? Every one. So I think JJ is sitting somewhere, and I hope he's safe. But that's what I believe happened to Tylee and JJ. Can I factually support? No, I can't. I'm just hoping that they're alive. And in my mind, and for my peace of mind, I hope that this is something that has happened because the possibility of that she got rid of both her kids and they're both dead is a very good possibility, and I don't want to think about that. I don't want to think about that she disposed of her kids in such a way because they were in the way and she wanted to start life over clean without the children with Chad. I don't want to believe that. I don't want to think about that. So, in my mind, I'd rather think that JJ's safe and off the grid, and Tylee, unfortunately, has been married off to a polygamist. Because again, the alternative really sucks. Thank you for watching today. Stay safe out there.